Jalen Brunson wasn't a lottery pick. He wasn't a top recruit. He didn't come into the NBA with the hype of a generational talent. In fact, for a long time, Jalen Brunson was just Luka's backup. But right now, they're calling him the best Knick player in franchise history.
But I think we're watching the greatest Knick ever to play in that Knick uniform. I firmly believe that.
NBA players now speak about him with the kind of reverence usually reserved for elite superstars. And the truth is, Jalen Brunson has earned respect the hard way. Here's how NBA stars, including LeBron James, Draymond Green, and Paul George, really feel about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson doesn't look like your typical NBA star. He's not soaring over defenders, and you won't see him plastered across sneaker ads. But ask any NBA player, and they'll tell you, this man is different. LeBron James, the gold standard of basketball IQ, didn't just acknowledge Brunson's talent. He said Brunson has been playing at a more than all-star level.
Rotations, obviously, Jalen is playing at a, more than an all-star level this year. So, well, he can't beat you. And we've seen that in the fourth quarter this year in a lot of the Knicks games where he's erupted in the fourth quarter. So
that's not a compliment handed out lightly, especially from someone who's played with Kyrie, D-Wade, and Prime AD. But it's Mikal Bridges who truly captures the heart of Brunson's on-court mindset. According to him, what separates Brunson isn't just skill, it's that will to win. The same trait you'd hear associated with Kobe or MJ.
He knows what he likes on the court, where he wants to get to, but I really think it's the will to win and want to win the game that he turns up another level because he doesn't want to lose. So, it's great to watch, and glad he's on my side.
So how does a second-round pick, once overlooked, end up in the heads of all-stars? By embracing the grind. Brunson's mental approach was forged at Villanova under Jay Wright, in a system which demanded toughness, precision, and leadership. He wasn't just trained to play the game, he was raised to own it. And if you think that mental edge ends at the final buzzer, think again. Off the court, Brunson's relationship with his father, Knicks assistant coach Rick Brunson, is part of what fuels that fire. Although, he seems to have overgrown that now.
What is the highlight of my career so far?
You got a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Whew. Playing in front of your dad.
That's every night.
I know, but I feel like that's a cool
No, I don't care about him no more.
Teammates have joked about him snapping back at his dad mid-game, but it's deeper than that. It's a dynamic built on accountability, high standards, and love. You can't teach that. Players like Cade Cunningham have also shared their thoughts on Brunson's mentality on the court.
He just knows the ins and outs of the game. Knows how to get to a spot. He's physical. He can knock down shots at a high level. So, all of those things make him a really tough guard. And so it takes a group to guard him.
You see, when you first watch Jalen Brunson play, it might not hit you immediately. He doesn't fly like Ja. He doesn't launch from deep like Steph. But then you check the scoreboard, and he's quietly dropped 28 on 60% shooting, and you didn't even see it coming. Brunson plays the game in slow motion, and that's exactly why he's so dangerous. He's so dangerous that Draymond Green, a four-time champion and Defensive Player of the Year, admits Brunson's pick-and-roll game is almost impossible to defend.
It's tough defending Jalen Brunson. If I'm honest, I actually prefer to defend him more in ISO than a pick and roll. He's so crafty, man. You start adding a screen, a pick and roll with Jalen Brunson, and he's coming downhill, and he's got all the pivots and side steps and drawing fouls, and he uses his body great. He finishes well. Jalen Brunson is a three-level scorer. He can finish at the rim. He can finish in the mid-range. He got a floater. He got a three. He got a pull-up. Like, he scored at all levels.
But here's what really stood out. Draymond notes how Brunson never gets sped up. Most guards panic under pressure. Brunson, he waits for the floor to open up. Patient, poised, surgical. That level of poise under pressure, it's the kind of mental game we've only seen from elite floor generals like Chris Paul or Tony Parker. And yet, Brunson does it with less flash, less fanfare, and even less height. Quentin Grimes, his Knicks teammate, gave maybe the most vivid breakdown of Brunson's on-court toolkit.
And he's a good dude off the court, you know what I mean? So he comes there, and then he just put the city on notice, like, nah, this is my shit. And then he's killing, dropping crazy numbers, playing with him. It's fun to play with because, like, he's like a point guard, but he also just, like, gets buckets so quick. It's like you look up, you like, damn, he got 25. Like, damn.
Well, he'll body you. The fork's crazy.
Like, his footwork in the
he's
post.
a 40% three-point shooter.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, he coming off screens, pull up three. Like, he'll take six guys in the post and post them up. They shoulder, fade, bump fade. Like, he's tough.
Brunson knows he's undersized, so he uses his strength, his balance, and his insane footwork to turn bigger defenders into cones. He doesn't just get to his spots, he owns them, and NBA players are noticing it.
JB's put a lot of time and work into understanding how to play with leverage, understanding how to get defenders, off balance, and take advantage of those types of movements. And he's one of the best. I mean, he's a small guard. Like, he's not tall at all. It's not even like he's the quickest guy either. He's strong, but he's not the quickest. He's not the fastest. He just there's a couple guys in the NBA that just really understand angles really, really well, and he's one of them.
Indeed, Jalen Brunson had to develop a craft that's more old school than anything else. Think Andre Miller with a flamethrower. Now, that's one player you should be thankful you don't have to guard.
I don't have to guard guys like Jalen outside of maybe on a switch, so maybe you can speak to this more than I can, but his ability to be so physical and relentless with his drives, and then on a moment just shift into, and I'm not saying it's flopping, but like initiate contact and then just like accentuate the contact.
As for Derek White, he kept it simple.
I mean, big time player, seems to make all the big plays for them, and he's had an unbelievable year, and obviously this playoffs he's taken to another level.
Indeed, Jalen has taken it to a whole nother level during the 2025 playoffs. People who look down on him are now eating their words. But initially, you can't blame them. In a league dominated by wings and 6'8" do-it-alls, Jalen Brunson is a glitch in the system. At just 6'2", without elite speed or jaw-dropping verticals, Brunson had every reason to be counted out. And for most of his early career, he was. But here's the thing about underdogs. They don't wait for respect. They take it. And as for Paul George, JB has been able to do that in New York.
Did you ever expect this type of leap when he went over to New York?
Nah, not like this. I ain't gonna even lie. I thought he was really good, and you see the flashes of what he's doing now, but obviously small sample size when you're playing alongside Luka. When Luka went out and Jalen Brunson became the starter in that stretch where Luka was hurt, he showed that he could run a team and be the face of a team. So you saw the signs, but like, I didn't think this good, especially in probably the biggest market that you could do it in, the toughest probably franchise that you could play for, with the expectations, the pressure in New York. He's delivering.
What's wild is how many people forgot just how decorated Brunson was before the NBA. He wasn't a sleeper talent. He was a two-time NCAA champion. He was the National Player of the Year at Villanova. He was the type of college player scouts would often call too polished, which translated means they couldn't find anything wrong, so they assumed he'd plateau early. And at first, it looked like that. Early in his career, JB was Luka Doncic's sidekick, a guard who played in the shadows, waiting for his shot. But the people who played with him, who saw him work day in and day out, they always knew. Take Luka, for example. When asked if he ever expected this version of Jalen Brunson to emerge, Luka didn't even blink.
Did you have any idea Jalen Brunson would be this good?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. And then we have 2 in Utah. So the second game, I think he had like 45, something like that. Like it was a tough game, and we needed to win no matter what. And that game was really impressive. I was just on the bench watching, like, wow, this guy's amazing.
And now that he has exploded in New York, superstars like Jaylen Brown recognize that he is not only tough, but he was meant for the big stage.
JB's tough. I give him all the credit in the world. He's tough. He uses his body well. He's physical. He knows how to sell and get those calls. And he's crafty. He makes tough shots, and he likes those big moments. So.
Jalen Brunson might not be the tallest, the flashiest, or the loudest, but today he's mentioned alongside the best hoopers ever. All he needed was an opportunity, and when it came, he never looked back. He's built his game like he's building a legacy, brick by brick, moment by moment. The angles, the footwork, the mindset, it's all by design. And in the biggest city, on the brightest stage, under the harshest spotlight, he hasn't blinked once. But now you've heard what the players think about him. Where do you think Jalen Brunson ranks amongst today's best guards? Is he already the face of the Knicks for the next decade? Or do you think he's just getting started? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, check out what the face of the NBA actually looks like next.